are Be P.O.O.R.
What's up?
I'm coming to you guys with another episode of whatever.
Yeah, that's what we do.
Yeah.
All day, every day. I mean, not all day, every day, because we don't do this every day, because nobody got time for that. I got work, you got jobs, got different things going on.
Pets and things.
Yeah, I don't got that.
Trips
but
and things.
we got,
all of it.
You know, we're just trying to do all that.
Extraness and things.
All that, yes.
Situationships.
Situationships. We get ourselves involved in.
Yes.
I get myself involved in a lot of those for some reason. Not that I'm trying to get myself involved in, but it just happens.
But it's interesting that you should say things you get into and these situationships. Mm-hmm. So it brings me to this question of how do you deal or navigate negativity? How do you deal with negativity? Or navigate it?
Hello there. Sorry. The dog is trying to get my attention. It was hi. Cool. How do I deal with negative vibes?
Yeah. Yes.
I just put that question in millennial or Gen Z terms.
What?
It's okay, you don't get it. But
that's fine. I'm fine with being in my generation and not understanding a lickety split of what your generation or younger said.
Are you? Which gen are you in, by the way?
I'm in that generation.
What is that generation?
That generation. The generation that if you step over the line, you're about to get snatched up.
Oh, okay. Hold on. So your question, negative energy, negative vibes. This is what I'm feeling right now. And the way I try to deal with that is, hey, we're just going to bob and weave because nobody got time for that. My positive vibes, I don't want you to encroach into that, okay? Nah, I'm going to be who I am, who the Lord created me to be. I don't know what I'm doing at this table. But yeah, so my vibes, nothing's going to change it. So sometimes I will address the situation. Depends on the relationship that I have with the person, right? So if something was said and or done negatively that what impacted me, I will pull the person to the side. I'm like, hey, this is what's up. This is what happened. This is how I felt. Let's talk about it. And then hopefully we could come to a resolution, right? So if it's people that I don't know, then I'm not gonna try to get, waste my energy on you. So because I don't know you. You don't know me. You make your own interpretation, or you just assume a lot of things about me, and it's okay. So
got it.
I don't know. Fair. How about for you? How do you deal with negative vibes? Negative vibes.
I have a tendency to say what I feel and how I feel,
whether you know them or not.
Whether I know them or not.
Oh.
In fact, if I know the individuals, then the way that things come out is it's never intended to be harsh, but I feel like there's a bit more harshness with it than if it was somebody that I didn't know.
That you didn't know.
Where it's like, this is how this made me feel, or this is how I'm feeling based on X, Y, and Z. And if X met B, then it shouldn't be this way. Not speaking in flubby, bubbly, whatnot, but I have a tendency to just kind of say what is there.
Say what you need to say.
Yeah. And if I'm mad, which doesn't happen very often, I'm not very easily angered, but when I do get angry, I let people know I'm angry, and here's where my anger is and my level of it. So yeah.
Yeah.
I guess I typically just say what I'm thinking or what I'm feeling.
I mean, sometimes I think it's important to do that sometimes, and I'm like a huge believer in giving people the benefit of the doubt. When people say something the first time, that I let it pass. Second time, I'm a little bit. Okay, ooh, my ears are perked a little bit. Like, okay, cool. Ooh, they said it, this is the second time. The third time, then for sure, I'm about to be like, okay, yeah. That's when typically I address it, if I know them. Because we all human beings, we say things we don't mean. We act out in ways we shouldn't be acting out. So, I'm not saying I'm perfect in that way. Sometimes, I don't have that 3 rule. But, we all crazy people and make mistakes. So, and I would want to be treated as well too, the same way. So, because I say things I don't mean. Sometimes when I'm all hyped up, I say all the things. I mean, I don't ever try to hurt people's feelings, but sometimes I could just say things that people may not be ready to hear.
That makes two of us.
And so, yeah.
Funny enough, a friend said to me the other day that sometimes when you open your mouth, Baban, if people aren't ready to hear the things that are coming out, it's always going to be taken in a negative way, because I have a tendency to just say what I'm thinking. And then if I did something to hurt someone with the words that came out of my mouth, then I'm like, oh, well, I didn't, it was my intention to hurt you in this, or by saying this.
By saying this, right.
I am only saying what I see to be the truth, which not everybody is able to handle.
Exactly.
And
but your truth may be very different to to them, because
sure.
You'd be like, that's what I see, and that's what it's gonna be.
I mean, I will only talk about what I am seeing. So if you're asking me a question about a character,
trait or
your
fault.
character, then I'm gonna tell you what I'm seeing
based
on that, but nothing beyond that, because I can't speak to what other people are doing when they're not with me.
Right.
But in doing that unfortunately, it pierces people.
It gets you in trouble?
Yeah.
How do you repair those potential opportunities?
I laugh and try and make light of it, because there's no point in taking it and then allowing it to sit and fester.
Gotcha.
So we always come back to some sort of laughter and just be done with it. And then...
How do you know they're okay, though? Because when you laugh about it, that doesn't mean that they're...
Oh, if they're not laughing, I'm not laughing.
But what if no one's laughing? How do you get back to a spot
no one's
where you
laughing, then...
Or like on the same page about that situation?
I will just nod and say, okay. Because then there's nothing I can do at that point.
Got it.
I've already said what I said, and... again, like I would never intentionally say something to hurt someone, and when that does happen, oftentimes I will apologize for it. But then there are other times where, like, I needed to say what I said, and you heard it, so moving on.
Yeah, sometimes you can apologize so many times and you can't just try to force somebody to accept that apology.
Nope.
So you got to brush your shoulders off and literally keep it pushing, because,
Or try again until you get punched in the mouth.
So you revert to violence. Revert to violence. Okay, that works.
No,
that's cool. Sometimes you gotta.
I'm saying
throw
that
some hands. I know you always trying to throw hands, bro. This dude is always trying to throw hands. So this is crazy. You know what we need to do? We need to take you to like a boxing class.
I have a punching bag in the garage that I do use.
Man, this dude, every conversation, always trying to slap somebody, trying to punch somebody, trying to drop kick somebody. I don't understand, bro.
It's not every
like the Bible says, out of the overflow of the heart, the mouth speaks. Like you literally are always speaking that. So I don't know. I'm just saying. Because I care for you. I don't want you to go to jail. When you get mad one of these days and be throwing hands where you shouldn't be throwing hands.
I mean, I'm not someone that's out there just like walking up to people and quote throwing hands.
Bro.
It's not.
I'm just saying.
But I hear you. I acknowledge the words that are coming out of your mouth.
Oh, you do?
I do.
Okay.
I think they're very humorous.
But I'm just saying. But yeah, it's a crazy. But yeah, sometimes those things can be very, you also have to lean into the person, because there's not one way that works for everybody. Each individual may receive things differently. They may be negative because they had a bad day. True. They had something that actually went on that specific week in their families and their work. So it can be very challenging to try to understand people before you develop your own narrative of whether they were being negative or not. Mm-hmm. So you just have to also try to understand people and what's really going on. Some
All right.
thoughts.
That works.
Just some thoughts there, because people are people and different, going through a lot.
Yeah,
of
I
things.
mean, obviously, we're all made up differently. We all feel things differently. We all approach life differently. There are many of us that, we shut down if something difficult happens and we don't have the time to process it,
Right.
or we don't want to process it, so we just didn't happen. Keep it pushing. And then there are those of us that are really emotional. Something happened. We're like, I have to figure out how to deal with this and how to get through and how to work through and how to through.
Right.
And then there are those of us that are just like, whatever.
That is true.
It happened.
Yeah.
And then you have the others of us that are like, oh, seriously? That happened? All right. Let's go.
Going through some
Let's get in the car. I'm going to go over to wherever we're going to throw hands. Yeah.
So with that though, are you one of those that do you process very quickly? You want to take your time and process it, or in the moment you just like, I just want to resolve this so that I'm secured and my heart is in a good spot, good space.
I think it varies. So if it's, again, going back to what you said earlier, if it's somebody that there's an established relationship with, then it will make it that much more difficult. So like if you said or did something that really bugged or hurt me,
Right.
and I have to come and talk to you about it, and we're gonna have a conversation about it. I may say, oh, when you said this, when you did this, this hurt, but
Right.
I can move on from that. But it's gonna take some time. But if it's someone else that I just randomly met, or it's a coworker that whatever said something and it bothers me, then it's like, well, that bothered me. Am I gonna lose sleep over it?
Right. Yeah.
I can get over that rather quickly, as opposed to being hurt by a close relationship.
Right.
So, yeah.
It's been interesting. I've been learning a lot about myself as of lately, and so more like, we gotta learn. We gotta work through this immediately, because I don't want to go to bed, with any type of weird situation in my heart, in my mind, in my soul, in my spirit. No vibes. I don't want my vibes to be ruined. So
Yeah.
I just want to handle things pretty quickly. So if you get a call from me tonight, it's because we probably we have to hash out situations that occurred today. So, but yeah, so that's me. I'm working, also trying to understand not everybody wants to deal with things in the moment. What does that, so I have to try to meet people where they trying to be.
I think that's probably where for me, when I'm in my space, like I retract to my space and try and take that time and say, okay, this is what I need to get my thoughts together and recuperate from whatever anguish I may have been going through during that whatever time frame is.
Yeah.
But then realizing that that's something I need for me, and then forgetting that that's what other people need for themselves as well. So and then questioning, like, well, why are you mad?
Don't get mad, get glad.
Don't get
Sponsored by Glad. This is not sponsored by Glad. No, for sure, yeah.
But just looking at that and thinking how sometimes as people we can have double standards for the relationships that we hold near and dear, and as opposed to the ones that we're just like, oh, you're just an outskirt relationship.
Right.
And I don't know, I just find it interesting, to say the least.
Yeah, and I think it's those things sometimes we can cause us to be closed off to other new potential friendships and relationships, because we've been burned in the past, so we build these walls, and so that can cause us to not appreciate or welcome new potential opportunities. So yeah,
I can see that.
Yeah.
I think to some degree that has been me, in a sense, of feeling the sting of being let down by various relationships.
other people, right?
And then saying, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore. I'll just stick closer to the ones that
Right.
make more sense. And then the other, then I can just snip those off and be done with them. But also understanding and realizing that in life that is not necessarily the best thing, because then you're focus on cutting people out because
Right.
they hurt your heart, because they said something that was insensitive. And by doing so, at the end of the day, like you're like, oh, I want to spend time with so and so is no longer available because guess what? You cut them out.
Yeah,
we're done. I'm guilty of that. There's so many relations that I've just been like, you know what? I've been hurt by this that was said, and I don't have room for this, so there's no reason for me to hold on to and then continue to pour into this relationship that isn't going anywhere. And then easily cutting them off, and then finding sometime later, like, oh, like going down memory lane. I remember hanging out with so and loving this time, and then circling back, I'm like, oh, I wonder how they're doing now, or I miss this relationship or friendship or whichever way you want to pronounce it. I don't know. I think we, as human beings, we do ourselves a great disservice.
For sure. Like, okay, years ago, my previous leader mentioned this to me. She said, don't be poor. Poor being an acronym, P.O.O.R. And I was like, what do you mean? And so the acronym stands for passing over opportunities regularly. So opportunities, friendships and opportunities to just be able to befriend somebody. You never know what they're going through. So, that season could have just been a tough season for them, for them not being able to respond or be present. And so therefore, sometimes we cut them off because you weren't there, so we don't know what they were going through. But yeah, so passing over opportunities regularly, something in which I try to apply. Doesn't always work, but yeah, just thinking, don't be poor. So I would implore you to potentially think about that.
I like that.
To see if that would
Passing
help.
over opportunities
Regularly. Poor, don't be poor. So yeah. So there are lots of relationships out there, lots of friendships, negativity that could have spawned, throughout the time, but maybe you don't know what that person could have been going through.
Right.
Could have just been a season, a year, a decade, or whatever. And so I guess don't give up on people, because you might be the source of encouragement and light that they may need to be able to get through. So I don't know. That would be my 2 cents in regards to that.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I think that's it for today, y'all. I know this was a little interesting talk.
Yeah.
I don't know how it got to this. With one
asking
question, I was like, oh gosh, what is happening? Oh Lord. But yeah, this is
again,
cool.
that goes just going back to what we normally say, like in asking a question, you never know what comes out of one question.
Right.
Sometimes it's not even the full question, it's a partial question, and then something else comes from that. But then in doing that and in finding those questions, we're able to actually have good conversation.
It unlocks different doors that we didn't think about.
Yeah, it just kind of makes you wonder, like, how much more like impactful conversations can we
That is true.
all have by just asking simple questions. Not thought-provoking questions. Don't be one of those, I have to find the most like provocative or question that is going to stoke fires, or just simple question.
Yeah.
Like, how are you? I think that's another one that, if you're willing to be a listener, if you're willing to care deeply for someone else and asking how are you, being present to give an answer and listen to the answers that are being given.
Yeah.
Because I'm finding that it's so important. Like, if I don't talk to Jeffrey at least once throughout the week, then I feel like there's like I've fallen behind in life, and I've become so distracted with whatever it is that I'm feeling or thinking that I forget that in my friend I need to I don't want to be distant from Jeffrey. I don't want to be distant from any of my relationships, be it my siblings or my parents or my adopted family, Jeffrey, Jared, or anybody else that are within that confinement. It's ask questions. Be present. Be available. be with the people you love.
And also be ready for
Yeah.
the unexpected. Because sometimes you're not always going to get what you thought you were going to get.
Right.
When you ask the question, what you going to do about that? When you ask, how you doing? They're like, you know what? I'm actually doing terrible. And then what? How do you respond? Because sometimes, we can easily think of it. It's a blanket question. And expecting people to say, I'm good, how are you? Because that's what we do. And so, yeah.
Or I'm
expect
okay.
the unexpected.
Funny enough, not funny, it's not ha-ha, but when people say, I'm okay, I'm like, just okay? And what does that mean? Like, again, simple questions. And it's not prying, but it is kind of prying because you wanting to make sure that they're safe, they're okay, that you can walk away and say, forgive Moncho, he's just... But you want to walk away and know that they're sound.
Yeah, for sure.
So, yeah.
And also follow up. I feel like this
can go on.
Conversation for hours and hours and hours. But we will not, for your sake and also for Mancho's sake, because he's ready to do something clearly. So yeah.
So on that note, we will see you guys next time. We'll try and figure out if we're gonna actually do another meal or we'll have another dialogue.
Yeah.
There's many. Real quick, I forgot to tell you this. A friend of mine, who is not from this country.
I have it.
He's like, I was talking to him last week, and he says, "You know what I did?
What he did?
Because I don't have my driver's license, I can't go anywhere, and I'm taking these classes to learn English. I've watched every one of you guys' videos, and
what?
Yes,
to learn English?
To learn English.
Oh my gosh, I felt terrible. I'm gonna teach this person some bad English. I'm sorry, whoever you are. I don't speak English. Listen to him. But English is not my first language.
I just thought it was like it was such a
that's cool,
an encouraging thing, and then for him to say how much like he really appreciates like these videos and
that is awesome. Well, it's cool to have an impact in that way. Yeah, because watching people, videos, shows, TV shows can definitely help. Yeah. Mine was the Proud Family, Sugar Mama. I learned a lot of English from her. But yeah, amen. Yeah, this is cool. That is awesome. That is great. Love to hear that. So whoever you are, thanks for watching.
We'll check in with you guys again. Peace out.
Deuces. Yeah.